So much has gone on, and we haven't talked. We haven't had a minute to sit down and chit-chat about the New York Jets. I am back. I'll tell you why I was gone in just a second. First, I must say, welcome. Welcome to GreenBean's Jets Pod. I am Green Bean, and I am delighted that you would carve out some time during your most likely busy, oppressive day to spend with me. So I'm grateful for that, and I thank you. I thank everybody in the car or listening in audio formats in one place or another. Maybe you're sitting in Central Park. Maybe you're in the middle of some St. Louis Golden Arch Park. Not Golden Arch. What's it called? The St. Louis Arch? I've sat there. I was in St. Louis under the arch listening to Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7. What the hell's the matter with me? I mean, nothing to do with Ryan, but I'm at the arch. And I'm like, let me see what Ryan has to say about this thing. So I get it. So thank you to wherever you are. It's a fun thing that we get to do. You know, like I've said many, many times, sometimes with the Jets, man, I don't even know if I'd watch anymore. I'm serious. I was like, it is very little positivity, very little fun if it wasn't for you guys. If it wasn't for you, the Jets community, whether that be all of you folks in the chat, the people that DM me on Instagram, Twitter, all the social media platforms. And then obviously for me, the Jets content creator community. I mean, there's not a butthole in the bunch other than Nick Shine, of course. Nick Shine, I don't know, man, that guy. I'm just kidding. I do happen to have great love for Nick. We have a special relationship. Where he's completely enamored with Green Bean, wants to look like me, wants to, the whole thing. So I take it as, why not? I just choose flattery, right? I'm flattered, Nick. Thank you so much for biting off me and trying to be me every turn and growing the beard and then comparing your second-rate beard to mine and the whole thing. But everybody else is really, really great. For whether it's Jake or Ryan and Matt and Dom C and the Blewitts and Nanyas and Sabos of the world and then the Tigos and Gunny. I mean, there's just so many. Frankie, Jeremy, it goes on and on and on and on. DK. I love these guys. So without you guys, I'm telling you, I'd be toast. I'd be gone. I'd be a puff of smoke going, wait, what? There's football? That's what I'd be doing. The NFL? What is that? People give their entire week and then a whole day on the weekend for a team that never wins? It doesn't make any sense. That's what I'd be doing. But here we are nonetheless. So let's talk about number one. I want to talk to you quickly about the sponsor of the stream. The Great Bet US, everybody. We've been talking about them all season. So I want to tell you about the offer that Bet US has for you, Green Bean listeners, right now. If you go on to the BetUS platform, just Google BetUS and you'll see. It'll take you right there. If you type in the promo code YouTube150, they're going to give you a pretty amazing deal, actually. A 150% bonus on your first deposit and a 125% bonus on your next two deposits, up to $2,000 each. So come on. That's crazy. That's crazy stuff. And you guys see, every game stream, we take a few minutes and we play some wagers. Sometimes I get a little nuts and I do some risky stuff and I lose. But that's okay. You don't have to follow my lead. But it's really a great platform. It's America's favorite sports book for a reason. And the deal is pretty much second to none. YouTube150 is the promo code and 150% bonus is the gift from the Great Bet US. Thank you for sponsoring Green Bean's Jets Pod. So guys, look, I haven't been around in a week and it feels like it's been months. Honestly, it's been less than a week actually. But it feels like a month. Like generally speaking, I release this podcast on Monday mornings. And I apologize to all my 6 a.m. Monday morning drivers because I have a lot of those. And they tell me, look, man, like 6:30, like without your podcast, I don't know if I can go to work, that kind of a thing. So I apologize. And I do enjoy being of some assistance in your work week, starting it up right and all that jazz. But so in the past 7-day period, well, from up to Monday, I saw 2 concerts. I had to take my son to Baltimore. As you guys know, I live in Virginia, down in the Charlottesville area. So it's 3 hours or so to Baltimore. I took him to Baltimore on a Monday night to see King Diamond. One of my personal favorites, my son's first time ever seeing him, so it was a big deal. And then we switched gears a little bit, and we went to New York City. I brought my wife and kids to see probably the last time he's going to be around. Only 5 dates on his whole tour: Rome, London, Los Angeles, New York. He had 2 separate places in Los Angeles, which is where you get 5. But 4 cities and the whole tour. And this is probably it. He's 78 years old. The one and only David Gilmour. I wanted my family to see this guy one time before he calls it quits. So we went up to MSG and saw David Gilmour. A little bit different feel, right? Than King Diamond. So we had quite the week, and it was just difficult to put everything together, family and all that jazz. So we're doing it now. Now, look, we had a lot go on this week. Number one, the Jets won the game. Now, it's interesting because we'll talk about a few things, but then we're going to get into something that I think I had a pretty severe emotional shift recently, and I want to share it with you. And I think that as a Jets fan, I've been getting it wrong the entire time. I've been getting it wrong for 42 years, okay? And we're going to talk about that. I think I might be able to help some people. And if this is the case, if what I think is actually true, then boy, oh boy, is this going to be more fun to lose and suck and all that stuff. So let me just, bear with me. We'll talk about a few things and we're going to get to that, okay? First thing, as you know, we beat the Texans, and, we should have beaten the Patriots, and we should have beaten the Broncos, and in my opinion, we should have beaten the Bills. And so really, without field goal kicks, the Jets should be, if the kicks that were placed went through the uprights, we're a 6-3 team. And it's an entirely different thing. Salah's still here. I mean, it's a whole different thing. But here we are. We're at 3-6. We beat the 6-2 Texans, and it's one of those things where it could very easily be the Jets, right? The Jets do this, and Jets fans are funny because we had a 5-game losing streak, and we look disjointed, and we can't stop the run, and so forth and so on. And it's one of those things where we look at it, and how do you find hope? 5 straight losses to really teams we should be beating and losing by 3 points, 1 point, that kind of stuff. And it's aggravating. And then in the Pittsburgh game, we're dominating them in the first half and then 31 unanswered points. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And we win one game. One game. Granted, against an upper tier AFC team, young team, burgeoning. Now, they didn't have 2 wide receivers, but we didn't have a whole bunch of players either. We're playing with 4 tackles on the offensive line. I mean, who does that, right? Where defensive backfield is beat to hell. So, you know what I mean? It balances out. I don't want to hear it with injuries. At the same time, 6-2 team, better team in the AFC. and we beat them. So what does it do to us? We start talking about going on a run, right? That's what, and this is the thing with, like, whenever they call us negative, I want to just make this point. Whenever people call us negative, and we are, right? We're damaged goods, we're PTSD, we're weather beaten. We've been through the ringer and back, man. And then through the ringer again. We're like, another ringer? Like, that's just how it goes with us. Like, come on, why do I stop going through the fucking ringer? So that's how it is. But all it takes to get us positive, supportive, loving, we're the most loving, supportive, positive, passionate fan base in the NFL. If you just win some games, 5 straight losses, 1 victory, and we're talking about Garrett Wilson being one of the best receivers in the NFL. We're talking about Breece Hall. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers being back, Davante Adams. We're talking about going on a run. We can get in the playoffs, and then it's a new season. This is 1 win. So, guys, that's all it takes. It's not us. It's them. Say, oh, if it wasn't for the Jets fans, we'd be all right. Sure, we shouldn't be throwing bottles, plastic water bottles. We shouldn't be calling people's mothers. And I maintain that's the truth. At the same time, win some games and none of that shit happens. That's all we're asking for. Just win some games. That's it. Win some games. Be competitive. Get to 500. Get into playoffs every couple years. And we're fine. We're fine. We're not asking for much. So we beat them. And now we're going into play Arizona. Arizona Cardinals, who, by the way, I watched that game. I watched half of that game. They looked scary to me. I was feeling pretty good, just because of the name, the Cardinals. And I'm a little nervous. So we'll see how that goes. The Jets got to beat them. If the Jets can beat them and then go into Indianapolis, which was flexed from a Sunday night game to a 1 o'clock game. I love it. That gives us a nice string of 1 p.m.ers. I am in my glory. I'm done with the showcase. I don't need to showcase anything. Let us sit in the little corner and quietly work on whatever issues we have. So the NFL, in their ultimate wisdom, said enough of the Jets on prime time. Even though we won and it was an exciting second half, they said enough. Enough of this shit. We overshot. Yeah, no, you think? 2 years in a row, 7 primetime games. Enough is enough. We haven't proven anything. Let us just play football at 1 o'clock and see where it goes from there. So there's that. But if we can beat the Cardinals and then go against the Joe Flacco-led Colts and heading into the bye on a 3-game win streak, puts us at 5-6, coming out of the bye to get to 500. That's a really good place to be. You got to beat the Cardinals. You got to beat the Cardinals. There's no excuse. Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, Breece Hall, Malachi Corley, who when we went to the trade deadline here, the Jets traditionally have been buyers, and we were a little early. We got Davante Adams in here right before finally getting the Hassan Reddick stuff hashed out. So it's not like we didn't bring anybody in. But the Jets jettisoned yet another name wide receiver. So the last 2 years, Joe Douglas has brought in 2 wide receivers with an NFL track record. Names, Mecole Hardman and Mike Williams. Mike Williams, the famous Taylor ham, egg, and cheese by our buddy NYJ Mike. Beautiful story, fun time, and all that jazz. It didn't work out for us, and we're already trading him. 2 years in a row, we're trading our receivers away. I'm going to tell you my honest feelings on it. I don't think we should have. The idea of having Garrett Wilson, Davante Adams, and Mike Williams on the field in 11 personnel, it's like finally we have a legitimate receiving core that teams have to fear, that teams have to really account for. Now, yes, Mike Williams and Aaron Rodgers, that connection never really materialized. They had some moments, but overall it's been rough. Why can't we have nice things? So it's like we just get it, a couple weeks, and we jettison for a 5th-round pick. Now, you can talk about the value of a 5th-round pick for a guy of Mike Williams' age and whatever, all this stuff. I guess it's fine. You sign a free agent, you pay him $4.5 million. They're going to take on the second half of the contract, so you lose that. that monetary obligation, and then you get a fifth. It's fine, but if we're going on a run here, I liked having it. And see, I'm a firm believer that the Jets need to account and plan for worst case scenario. No GM that we've ever had ever seems to think that that's the case. We're one layer deep. Like if Garrett Wilson goes down, we're looking at Devontae Adams until Alan Lazard comes back. We're talking about Devontae Adams and Malachi Corley, Gibson, Brownlee, Irv Charles, like just like that. And I would rather not do that. And they just don't seem to understand, like why can't we all get along? Why is there every year there's some sort of rift on this team? I don't get it. So I didn't like the trade. That said, Ulbricht basically said that this means that Malachi Corley has earned the spot and he's going to see more reps. Aaron Rodgers said he'd like to see Irv Charles get the reps. My hope is that Aaron Rodgers can, that's really great that you feel that way, but Irv Charles is our special teams ace, and we're not going to dilute that in any capacity. He gets some offensive reps, that's fine, but this is Malachi Corley's position. That's what I want to see. He gives us the most bang for the buck, the most upside. Yes, he had the flub against the Texans, but again, like people say, oh, he's a young punk. I don't think so. I think he was excited. You see his face when they show it from the back end looking out, looking toward him. He's like, he can't believe it. I get in the game and I'm scoring a touchdown and I'm elated. And he just let the ball go. It's stupid and it's wrong and it shouldn't happen. And I was furious. But let's not beat him up. He's never going to do that again. The next time he scores a touchdown, he's taking that shit to his mother. He is. You know what I mean? He's never letting go. I can let go of it now. You're on the sideline. It's all good. We kicked the extra point. You sure? Like, he's going to be like that. He's never going to do that again. And I think the talent and the upside far outweigh the mistake that he made. He made it to the 1 inch line and just got excited. He's excited, man. We all do shit when we're excited. So I do like that. But I would rather have Mike Williams bounce to the 4 and keep him on deck. Hey, man, we never know what's going to happen around here. So that's what happened. Now, there was also some non-moves. A lot of Jets fans, myself included, were hoping that they'd bring in a run-stopping defensive tackle. There wasn't that much out there. We talked about Quentin Jefferson because he was here last year. Maybe not a run stopper per se, but he's a good defensive tackle, and we would have liked to bring him back. He chose the Buffalo Bills. I'm sure the Jets were interested. As a matter of fact, I'm fairly certain that they were. But he said, look, 3-win team, disarray, fire the head coach. We don't know what's going on with Joe Douglas. Aaron Rodgers looks spotty up and down. And then we got the 7-win Buffalo Bills. I'm gonna go there. Can you blame a guy? We always get mad. Yeah, Joe Douglas. Blah, blah, blah. What if the player said, I'm not coming there, man? I'm not coming. Like, you can't blame a guy for that. So that was frustrating, but here we are. We got a game against the Cardinals. We did win a game. We kind of broke the seal. We cracked the dam, if you will, and maybe the wins will start coming because the truth is, guys, is the team is talented. Yes, we're injured. Yes, we're banged up. And yes, we had a rocky path getting here. But I think the Garrett Wilson, Aaron Rodgers connection, the Breece Hall, having Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson out there is causing teams to loosen up a little bit because Aaron Rodgers is hitting them now. And that you see it. I mean, Breece Hall's able to get around the edge and poke through and get 10, 12, 15-yard gains. And that's what we're talking about. That's what we were hoping to see from the beginning of the season. It took a little longer than we'd hoped, but here we are. Now, let's get into my shift in thinking. The whole perspective change in the Intelligent Gripe. All right. The Intelligent Gripe, sponsored by BetUS. All right. BetUS, America's favorite sport book. So here we go. Now, here's the thing. Now, I have been a Jets fan since 1982. Right? It really started, I watched some games before this, particularly the playoffs. But my Jets fandom really started in the Mud Bowl as a loser. All right. So I made the choice to be a Jets fan in one of the most embarrassing losses in New York Jets history. The Mud Bowl, AFC Championship against the Miami Dolphins. And, A.J. Dewey, 2 pick sixes, Richard Todd, 5 interceptions or whatever it was. And I'm like, that's my team. You just, looking back with hindsight, you go, of course you're a fucking loser. I mean, you made a loser choice. But it was exciting. Really what happened was I was at the ground round in Belleville, right, with Aunt Gina. She took me there, and we sat at the bar, and I was eating peanuts and throwing the shells on the floor. If you remember the ground round, that was their big claim to fame. Eat peanuts and throw the shit on the floor. So that's what I did. I was a little kid. I was 10 years old. And there were these two guys, I can still see him in my head. The one, blonde hair, mustache, glasses, this guy. He was relentlessly just berating my beloved, peace-loving Aunt Gina. And she's the perpetual, ultimate positive Jets fan. We're going to come back, like that kind of thing. And I was 10 years old, but I already had envisioned choking this guy to his death, right? Like that's how it started. I said, that's it. Like, I'm a fan of this team. I'm going to defend Aunt Gina, and we're going to kick their ass. And I hate the Dolphins, which is why when we get into these philosophical debates about what team you hate more, like for me, yes, the Pats, right? They did the whole thing for 20 friggin' years, but it's the Dolphins in my heart. I hate them. And then we had the Kenny O'Brien, Dan Marino wars and all that kind of stuff. So that's what started it. But I've been a Jets fan since that time, and I've had very, very little fun, right? Like, there's some fun times. It's a fun week here, fun stretch there, But by and large, it's been a big batch of disappointment and pain. But throughout that time, especially since 1992 when free agency started, right? So especially from that point on, yes, we had the Sack exchange before that. We had Freeman McNeil, Wesley Walker, Mickey Schuller, all those guys that I loved. But the free agency is really what kicked it into overdrive. The first year of free agency, the Jets just shoot out of a cannon. And we signed Leonard Marshall, who was a big name in New York sports. He played, with Lawrence Taylor and Carl Banks and Gary Reasons and all those guys, Phil McConkey and Bavaro. And we stole him from the Giants. And it was like, wait a minute. This free agency thing is interesting. Then the Jets get Ronnie Lott, arguably at that time my favorite non-Jet. And the reason being is because he obliterated everybody he played against. He just knocked the snot out of everybody. The fact that the Jets stole Leonard Marshall, went and got Ronnie Lott. We were in the Reggie White sweepstakes. And then we went and got a quarterback named Boomer Esiason. And it was like, wait a second. You want to talk headlines? So from that moment on, the Jets have figured out a way, while we haven't won on the field very often, every year or two, or whatever it might be, the Jets are one of the most exciting teams of the offseason. Fair? We say it all the time. We're the offseason champs. Yeah, sure, everybody, teams have a good year here and there, but we're still right with them. We're either the most exciting offseason, biggest moves, or we're right there in the top 3. The Jets know how to keep us engaged, right? To keep us going, to keep us here. Again, we talk about this all the time. Woody Johnson bought the team in 1999 for $625 million. It's currently over $6 billion. So he's 10 times this value, and we haven't been successful. What business can you open that you improve its value by 10 times and your product sucks and nobody likes it? Imagine. So we found this niche, and what I realized is this. I don't know if it was in meditation, if I had a weird dream. I don't remember when it happened, but I just had this epiphany. The Jets aren't really a football team. Yes, we play football. We are a part of the NFL, and we go on the field for 17 games during the season. We have a quarterback. We have defensive backs. We have safeties and defensive tackles. And we have left tackles and running backs. We have all the things. We have a head coach. We have running backs coaches. We have defensive backs coaches. We have all the stuff. Water boys. But we're not really a football team. There are teams that are serious. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens come to mind. They're serious. They're football teams. They've always been football teams. Right? We have famous stuff where, like Mel Kiper, it's clear that the Jets don't know what the draft is about. Because we're not drafting for football prowess. We're drafting for what we really are. And this is the shift. You ready? The Jets are merely entertainment. The Jets look, if we win, great. But if we lose, we sell just as many jerseys, the whole thing, because we know how to get Hassan Reddick. We know how to get Devontae Adams, whether it's Art Monk or, like I said, Leonard Marshall or whatever it is, the big draft picks we trade and we do all the things. That's where the money is. It's the perception of excitement and hope. More so, the focus is there as opposed to building a real football contender. It doesn't matter. Sure, we put up that front. I'm pissed off. I'm going to fire. Blah, 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 blah. There's enough is enough. I want wins. That's great. It's all lip service. Everything is lip service. The Jets are merely here as it's a TV show. It's a sitcom. That's all it is. If I look at it that way and just go, all right, well, this is one of those episodes where we lose. And there's sad music. They should do that at the end. That's The Godfather. I don't know why. I can't think of a sad song. What's a sad song? Just something like that. Some sad shit. I want to think of the Hulk music. Remember the Hulk when he was walking away? The first Hulk TV show. But if they should just embrace it. Now, in that thinking, so if we don't do everything, we get to the Super Bowl and everything this year is a different conversation. But let's assume that we don't do that. It's very, very hard, as we know. And they fire everybody this year. They clean house and they fire everybody. We're talking about, you got to get Ben Johnson. You got to get Vrabel, right? We have camps, Flores, and whatever it might be. Whoever Joe Brady, whoever your guy is, right? Why do we want those guys? Because we want the chance to win, but we're going about it all wrong. So while I have said many times, if we're looking at it through the lens of wins and losses and actually doing something, the idea of Rex Ryan or whoever is silly. Rex Ryan had 2 successful years. He had 4 flops here, then went to the Buffalo Bills and had 2 flops there, and he hasn't a coach since. So this idea, it's like selective memory. We're remembering the honeymoon period with the love, right? And we don't don't remember all the terrible years where she's slashing your tires and you remember, it was so fun in the beginning and we had these great dates and we had so much fun looking over the beach, the sunrise or whatever. And it's like, yeah, well, you had 4 years of mayhem. You can't go back. But if you're looking at the Jets through a purely entertainment perspective, I think we hire a coach, a general manager, and a slew of characters that are fun, that are exciting. They say weird shit. They get people pissed off. And we never fire them. Never. It's just who we are. Like, I've been here 42 years. Why can't the head coach be here 20 years? Why can't the GM just be the GM for 20 years? Why not? Just hire the guys, and if they win, they win. They're trying. They still do the stuff. They're still drafting. They're still free agents, and they're still playing football. If we get the collection of people and they win, great. Great. But you hire Rex and Tanny. You get them back. You get him back. Trader Mike. He's talking about, I forget the player, but he's talking about, who was? Oh, Myles Garrett. He said the Detroit Lions should give 3 first-round picks. And it was like, okay, fuck it. Go ahead, Mike. Send 3 first. Get Myles Garrett in here and whatever. Trader Mike and Rex, get them back together. Get the band back together. Who's the most exciting offensive coordinator you can think of? I mean, who's going to just fit right in with Rex and take care of the offense? Adam Gase. Get him in here. He's on the sideline going, like one of the, who cares? It's fun. It's exciting. That if we do that and we just have a blast. We get on Sundays, we get a whole bunch of wings and Doritos and whatever beer, or whatever the hell it is. And we just go in there and go, hey, if we win, great. If not, I'm having a good time today. We've had it backwards, everybody. The Jets aren't a serious NFL team. People tried to tell us, and we get mad and I'll tell you about it. It's not who we are. Hire Rex Ryan. Hire Rob Ryan as the defensive coordinator. Let them fist fight on the sideline. You know what I mean? Get Greg Williams in here as a linebackers coach. Screw it, dude. Screw it. Just do that and let us have a dramatic episode of the New York Jets Crazy Town show every single week. We go into the offseason, we win. That's when we win. You see? I personally like it. If we're going to be this, you got to know who you are in life, right? You got to embrace your truth. And if your truth is, we're not really a football team. We've tried to pretend we're not. So let's have a blast. Let's just own who we are and have some fun. Let me know what you think. Who else could we add to the fun mix of characters? Who's a outspoken person out there? Who? Give me some players that never shut up. Get Deion Sanders in here. Draft him. Draft the kid. Let him run around like a crazy man. Do it. Do it to it. That's the way. Let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I've cracked. I don't know. Maybe I'm broke. Maybe I have no answers. Maybe that's all it is, but I think I might be onto something, Jets fans. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget about BetUS and the great deal, YouTube 150 for a 150% bonus on your first deposit up to $2,000. With that all said, hit that like button, Milk Dog, and subscribe if you haven't. Have a great day, everybody. I'll talk to you next time, and as always, go Jets.